Right, so get ready because today we are diving deep into some seriously intense astrological predictions.
Yeah.
And trust me on this one, this is not going to be like those fluffy horoscopes you see everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
We are talking full-on, like, karma tarot and a Venus retrograde. That is going to shake things up big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are going way beyond just your typical sun sign stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You've given us some really interesting material to work with here, blending astrology with karmic insights, even tarot.
Yeah, this is next level stuff for sure.
Yeah.
The forecast focuses on Venus retrograde specifically in 2025.
Okay.
Which is happening from March 2nd to April 13th.
Gotcha.
And it's not just any Venus retrograde.
Right.
The source material is calling it a karmic Venus retrograde.
Ooh. Intense.
Which, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty intense to me.
Intense is a good word for it, yeah.
Yeah.
The astrologer behind this, Lorenzo,
Okay.
he's known for being pretty direct. And basically what he's saying is, like, get ready for some cosmic payback.
Oh, right.
Because Venus retrograde is going to be bringing up all that old stuff. You know, past relationships, the financial choices you made.
Yeah.
Self-esteem issues. All of that's coming up for review.
Okay, so before we get into the specifics, can we just back up a sec?
Sure.
For anyone who might need like a little refresher, what exactly is Venus retrograde?
Okay.
And why does it have this reputation for like causing chaos?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So Venus retrograde happens about every 18 months.
Okay.
And basically what it is, it's an optical illusion from our perspective on Earth. Venus appears to be moving backwards.
Okay.
Astrologically, though,
Yeah.
it's believed to be a time when anything that Venus is associated with, you know, love, beauty, your values, finances, all that stuff kind of gets flipped upside down.
So like if you've been avoiding a problem in your relationship, it might like blow up during Venus retrograde.
Exactly. Or if you've been, you know, overspending, suddenly you might have to face some financial consequences.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that Venus retrograde like causes these things to happen.
Yeah.
But it can be like a catalyst, you know? It brings stuff to the surface that was already kind of brewing underneath.
Got it. So probably not the best time to make like any rash decisions then, huh?
Probably not, especially with this particular Venus retrograde, because it's actually spanning two signs, Aries and Pisces.
Okay.
It starts in Aries on March 2nd and then moves back into Pisces on April 4th and stays there until it goes direct on April 13th.
Two signs. So like double the intensity.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
The Aries phase is all about, you know, fiery confrontations, challenges to your sense of self-worth, whereas the Pisces phase is more about like deep emotional healing and facing those karmic lessons.
Okay, so we got Venus retrograde happening in two signs known for being like super passionate and emotional.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with this karmic element. So what exactly does Lorenzo mean by a karmic Venus retrograde?
That's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Lorenzo believes that this particular Venus retrograde is bringing with it like this wave of cosmic accountability. You know what I mean? Like past actions, especially when it comes to love and finances, are going to have very real consequences now.
So like if you ghosted someone like 5 years ago, they might suddenly reappear during this retrograde.
It's possible.
Oh boy.
Or if you made some like questionable financial decisions in the past, those consequences might catch up to you now.
Oh no.
The universe is basically giving us a chance to clear our karmic slate.
Right.
But it might not be the most comfortable process.
I'm starting to see why this is being called a karmic Venus retrograde.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the tarot element? How does that fit into all of this?
So Lorenzo is calling this Tarostrology.
Tarostrology.
Yeah, basically using specific tarot card combinations to add like another layer of insight to the astrological forecast.
So it's like a personalized karmic report card delivered through tarot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, I like it.
In his overview, he mentions these three major arcana cards that represent the overall themes of this whole Venus retrograde.
Okay.
The Empress reversed, the Emperor, and the Moon.
Okay, let's break those down.
Okay.
What does the Empress reversed signify in this context?
So the Empress is usually associated with like abundance, nurturing, creativity.
Right.
But in this case, she's reversed, which suggests like blockages, instability, potentially even self-sabotage.
Interesting. So it's like our usual flow of abundance and creativity might get disrupted?
Exactly. It's like a warning to be mindful of those areas where we might be holding ourselves back.
Yeah.
Particularly in terms of self-love and self-expression.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
What about the Emperor?
Okay, so the Emperor represents structure, authority, control. But remember, Venus retrograde is all about shaking things up and challenging the status quo. So in this context, the Emperor might actually point to power struggles,
Okay.
ego clashes, and maybe even resistance to change.
So we might find ourselves butting heads with, like, authority figures or feeling stifled by, like, rigid structures?
Exactly. It's like a reminder to try to be flexible and adaptable.
Okay.
And willing to let go of a little bit of control.
Got it.
Yeah.
And finally, there's the Moon. What does that card bring to the table?
The Moon. She's all about illusions, hidden emotions and the subconscious.
Oh, boy.
So in the context of this whole karmic Venus retrograde, the Moon might actually represent like past hurts, unresolved trauma.
Oh, fun.
Those things we've been trying to bury deep down.
The, like, repressed emotions and past relationship baggage might come back to haunt us?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like those things we've been avoiding are going to be illuminated under the Moon's harsh light.
Okay.
It's not going to be comfortable.
Right.
But it's necessary for healing and growth.
Okay, so we've got instability, power struggles, and the emotional baggage all wrapped up in a nice little cosmic bow.
Basically.
This is definitely starting to feel like a major karmic intervention.
You could say that, yeah.
But remember, guys, awareness is key here.
Absolutely.
By understanding these overarching themes, we can start to prepare ourselves for the specific challenges and opportunities that this Venus retrograde might bring.
That's right.
Exactly. Knowledge is power.
Yes.
And I'm definitely ready to hear what Lorenzo has to say about each zodiac sign.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's dive into these personalized predictions, starting with Aries.
All right, Aries, get ready for a wild ride. Lorenzo has paired you with the Emperor Andy, the Two of Wands.
Double the Emperor energy.
It's about to get very personal.
That sounds intense. So what's in store for our Aries friends?
Well, with the Aries phase of Venus retrograde happening in their own sign, which rules the first house of self-identity, they're basically facing like a major identity crisis. Lorenzo literally warns against impulsive haircuts and wardrobe changes.
Aries, put down the scissors and step away from the shopping cart.
Seriously, he's saying those urges to like drastically alter your appearance are coming from a place of insecurity, thanks to Venus retrograde messing with their self-worth.
Got it.
So yeah, this is a time for introspection, not drastic external changes.
Okay.
The Two of Wands also suggests that Aries is at a crossroads, feeling pulled in like two different directions.
Interesting.
Especially when it comes to love.
Oh, past love's resurfacing, perhaps.
You read his mind as Venus dips into Pisces, which rules Aries' 12th house of hidden fears and subconscious patterns. Those old relationship regrets start creeping back in.
So if you're an Aries and your ex suddenly pops up, think twice before you rekindle that flame.
Yeah, exactly. The question Lorenzo poses is, was pushing them away the mistake, or is taking them back the mistake?
Ooh, deep.
Deep stuff.
Wow, Aries is getting hit hard right out of the gate. What about our grounded, sensual Taurus friends?
Okay.
How does Venus retrograde affect them?
This is interesting because Venus is Taurus's ruling planet.
Right.
So they're going to feel this retrograde on like a whole other level.
Oh, boy.
Lorenzo has given them the Hierophant and the Nine of Cups.
Okay. Break it down for us. What do those cards tell us about Taurus's Venus retrograde experience?
All right, so the retrograde starts in their 12th house as well. Which means dredging up all those deep emotional memories, some pleasant, some not so much. It's like the universe is urging Taurus to deal with any unresolved issues from the past before moving forward. The Nine of Cups, which usually represents like wish fulfillment. It's almost like a warning here. Lorenzo suggests Taurus might be clinging to like nostalgic fantasies or unrealistic expectations. Particularly when Venus moves into their 11th house of friendships and future hopes.
So no confusing old flames with soulmates, right?
Right, and that's where the Hierophant comes in. It represents tradition structure and seeking wisdom from like trusted sources. Lorenzo's advice to Taurus is to trust their gut instincts. And stop looking for external validation.
Solid advice. So we've got Aries facing identity crises and past loves. Taurus dealing with emotional baggage and potentially unrealistic hopes. What about Gemini? They always seem to be up for a little chaos.
Oh, they're in for a wild ride.
Okay, good.
Lorenzo has paired them with the Lovers and the Three of Wands.
Right.
And buckle up because Venus retrograde is about to turn their social life upside down.
How so? Give us the juicy details.
All right, so during the Aries phase, which affects Gemini's 11th house of friendships and social networks, get ready for some unexpected reconnections.
Oh.
Think old flings sliding into the DMs.
Oh, fun.
Random acquaintances popping up out of the blue.
Oh, wow.
Maybe even a blast from the past that leaves them questioning everything.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But here's the kicker. Lorenzo warns that not everyone coming back is meant to stay.
As Venus moves into Pisces and activates Gemini's 10th house of career and public image, things get even more interesting.
Oh.
Let's just say it's a time to be very careful.
Okay.
Lorenzo warns against workplace romances, scandals, and anything that could potentially damage their reputation.
Okay.
He even mentions the possibility of an ex showing up at their job.
Talk about awkward.
Yeah, no kidding.
So what's the takeaway for Gemini?
The Lover's card suggests a need to make some choices. You know, evaluate which connections are worth pursuing and which ones are better left in the past.
Right.
And the Three of Wands reminds them to be strategic and think long-term.
So no impulsive decisions, Gemini. Think before you act, especially when it comes to love and career.
Especially.
Okay, that's Gemini.
Yep.
Moving right along, how does Venus retrograde affect our sensitive and nurturing Cancer friends?
Lorenzo has paired Cancer with the Chariot and the Five of Cups.
Okay. For Cancer, the retrograde starts in their 10th house of career and public image.
Okay.
And Lorenzo says it's their past career choices that are coming back to haunt them.
Oh, no.
Yeah, those past decisions are resurfacing, forcing Cancer to confront whether they're truly on the right path.
So it's like a career reckoning.
Exactly. And love and career are actually intertwined for Cancer during this retrograde.
Okay.
The Chariot suggests they might be pulled in two different directions.
Right.
Forced to choose between their personal happiness and professional ambition.
That's a tough choice.
Yeah.
And how does the Five of Cups play into this?
So the Five of Cups is traditionally associated with loss and disappointment.
Right.
Lorenzo suggests that Cancer might be holding on to past hurts or regrets.
Oh.
Particularly when Venus moves into their 9th house of beliefs, travel, and expansion.
Okay.
He even mentions the possibility of clinging to a long-distance relationship or a belief about love that isn't really serving them.
Sounds like Cancer needs to let go of the past and embrace new possibilities.
That's the message.
Okay.
Lorenzo's advice is to stop staring in the rearview mirror and focus on the road ahead.
Solid advice for all of us, really.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to hear what's in store for our fiery and fabulous Leo friends.
All right, Leos, get ready to have your illusions shattered.
Oh, no.
Lorenzo has paired you with strength and the 10 of Wands, and it's not going to be easy.
Tell us more. What kind of illusions are we talking about?
Okay, so during the Aries phase, which affects Leo's 9th house of expansion, adventure, and higher learning.
Okay.
Those big dreams and grand romantic notions are going to be put to the test.
Oh.
Lorenzo specifically mentions long-distance relationships and unrealistic fantasies as potential pitfalls.
Okay.
And he also warns about exes from faraway places popping up, tempting Leo to reminisce about, like, what could have been.
Yeah.
The question Lorenzo poses is, was it ever real? Or just a dream you refuse to wake up from?
Ouch. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
And how does the Ten of Wands play into this?
So the 10 of Wands is all about burdens, taking on too much, feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Lorenzo suggests that Leo might be carrying the weight of past relationships or unfulfilled expectations.
Okay.
Which is only going to get heavier during this retrograde.
Right.
And it's not just emotional baggage they need to be wary of.
Wow, what else?
When Venus moves into Pisces and activates their 8th house of intimacy, shared resources and deep truths, things get even more intense.
Oh, boy.
This is where issues around trust, commitment, and shared finances come to the forefront.
Oh, no.
Lorenzo warns about potential power struggles in relationships.
Okay.
Hidden secrets coming to light.
Yikes.
And even bad financial decisions being exposed.
Sounds like Leo needs to proceed with extreme caution during this retrograde.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Lorenzo's message for Leo is to be strong, but also to know when to let go.
Right.
He says just because you can handle the weight doesn't mean you should stop carrying dead relationships.
Wow, it's powerful.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll continue exploring what Venus retrograde has in store for the rest of the zodiac.
Welcome back. We're diving deep into how Venus Retrograde 2025 might shake things up for each zodiac sign.
It's been intense. So far, we've seen Aries facing identity crises, Taurus battling emotional baggage, Gemini navigating social chaos, and Cancer feeling pulled between love and career. What's next?
Next up, we have Virgo, the sign of practicality, analysis, and attention to detail. Lorenzo has paired them with the Hermit and the Eight of Cups.
Okay, those cards seem fitting for this introspective retrograde. So what does that tell us about Virgo's experience?
For Virgo, the retrograde begins in their 8th house of intimacy, shared resources, and those deep emotional patterns. Lorenzo says Venus retrograde wants Virgo to deal with their emotional debts, and he's not just talking about money.
Emotional debts. I'm intrigued.
He's talking about unpaid karmic debts that kind of build up in relationships, especially around love, trust, and vulnerability.
So maybe someone who took advantage of Virgo's kindness or didn't give as much as they took in the relationship?
Exactly. Lorenzo suggests those people might come crawling back during this retrograde, forcing Virgo to decide second chance or finally cut ties.
That's a tough call. How do the Hermit and the Eight of Cups provide guidance?
The Hermit encourages introspection, seeking solitude, and trusting that inner wisdom. It's like the universe saying, Virgo, retreat, listen to your intuition, figure out what you need. And the Eight of Cups is often associated with walking away from something that's no longer serving you, even if it's painful.
So maybe ending a toxic friendship or a draining relationship.
Precisely. Lorenzo's message for Virgo is to stop trying to fix what's broken and focus on creating a life that truly nourishes their soul. He even says if it doesn't feed your soul, let it go. You don't need to fix what someone else broke.
Powerful words. It seems like this retrograde is pushing Virgo to set healthy boundaries and prioritize their well-being.
Absolutely. And that theme continues as Venus moves into Pisces, activating Virgo's 7th house of partnerships. Old relationship wounds will resurface, making Virgo feel like they're reliving past breakups. But Lorenzo emphasizes this isn't about the other person, it's about Virgo's own growth.
So it's a test to see if they've learned from their past mistakes.
Exactly. Lorenzo's advice is to avoid repeating those old patterns and make sure they're not settling for less than they deserve.
Solid advice. All right, let's move on to Libra. They're ruled by Venus, so I imagine this retrograde hits them pretty hard.
You're right. Lorenzo has paired Libra with Justice and the Two of Swords, and things are about to get very real.
How so? Give us the details.
With the retrograde starting in their 7th house of relationships, love is taking center stage. Lorenzo says their relationships are literally on trial.
On trial. That sounds dramatic.
He's saying that any imbalances, unresolved conflicts, or hidden resentments are going to come to light.
So all those little things they've been brushing under the rug?
Exactly. And justice is all about truth, fairness, and accountability. So it's like the universe is saying, time to face the music, Libra. What needs to be addressed?
Yikes. And what about the Two of Swords? How does that fit in?
The Two of Swords often represents a stalemate. You know, that feeling of being stuck, avoiding tough decisions. Lorenzo suggests Libra might be resisting the truth, refusing to see what's right in front of them.
Maybe ignoring red flags or telling themselves that things aren't that bad.
It's definitely possible. And to make things even more complicated, Lorenzo says exes are likely to reappear.
Oh, no. So they're dealing with relationship drama, A&D, ghosts of relationships past.
Exactly. And as Venus dips back into Pisces and activates Libra's 6th house of health and daily routines, the focus shifts to self-care and setting boundaries. Lorenzo emphasizes the importance of prioritizing well-being and not letting relationship drama drain their energy. He warns about stress, anxiety, even burnout if they don't take care of themselves.
So lots of self-care and boundary setting for Libra during this retrograde.
Absolutely. And remember, justice is all about balance. So finding that equilibrium between their needs and their partner's needs, making sure they're not sacrificing their own well-being.
Great advice. Okay, I'm ready to move on to Scorpio. What does Lorenzo have in store for this intense and passionate sign?
Get ready for some serious transformation because Lorenzo has paired Scorpio with death and the 6 of Cups, and with Venus retrograde kicking off in their 6th house of work and health, it's all about shaking things up.
Death. That sounds a bit ominous.
Don't worry, it's not literal in tarot. Death represents endings, transformations, and letting go of what no longer serves us.
So maybe quitting a soul-sucking job or finally breaking a bad habit.
Exactly. Lorenzo suggests this retrograde will force Scorpio to confront any unhealthy patterns in their daily life, especially if they've been ignoring burnout, overworking, or clinging to those toxic habits.
That sounds like a much-needed wake-up call. How does the 6 of Cups play into this?
The 6 of Cups is often associated with nostalgia, childhood memories, and the past, and here's where things get interesting. Lorenzo says someone from Scorpio's past might resurface during this time.
An old flame, perhaps.
It could be anyone from their past, an ex, a childhood friend, even a former colleague.
Wow, talk about a blast from the past.
Exactly. But Lorenzo warns Scorpio to be cautious, he says, to ask themselves why this person is coming back now and whether reconnecting is truly in their best interest.
So no rushing into anything. Take your time, Scorpio.
Exactly. And as Venus moves into Pisces and activates Scorpio's fifth house of love and creativity, those intense emotions are only going to get stronger. Lorenzo says this is where the ghosts of relationships past really come out to play. He warns about the tendency to romanticize the past or confuse nostalgia with genuine connection. He even says nostalgia is a liar if they're coming back. Ask yourself why they left in the first place.
Wise words. It seems like this retrograde is really pushing Scorpio to let go of the past and embrace the present.
Exactly, and to be discerning about who they let back into their life.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm ready to hear about Sagittarius. What does this adventurous, free-spirited sign need to watch out for during Venus retrograde?
Get ready for some unexpected emotional turbulence because Lorenzo has paired Sagittarius with Temperance and the Ten of Cups, and with Venus retrograde starting in their fifth house of love, pleasure, and self-expression, things are about to get personal.
Interesting. So what's in store for Sagittarius during this retrograde?
Well, Lorenzo says that if love has been feeling like a game to Sagittarius, Venus retrograde is about to call them out.
Oh, so maybe they've been playing the field or avoiding commitment?
It's definitely possible, and with Temperance as their guiding card, it's all about finding balance, moderation, and integrating those different aspects of themselves.
So maybe they need to find a balance between their need for freedom and their desire for connection.
Exactly. Lorenzo suggests that Sagittarius might feel pulled in two different directions during this time, especially when it comes to love.
Interesting. And how does the Ten of Cups play into this?
The Ten of Cups is traditionally associated with happiness, family, and emotional fulfillment. But in this context, Lorenzo suggests that Sagittarius might be clinging to a romanticized vision of love, chasing a fantasy that isn't grounded in reality.
So maybe they're idealizing a past relationship or projecting their hopes and dreams onto someone new?
It's definitely possible. He even warns about the possibility of a past love resurfacing, leaving them questioning everything.
Ooh, that sounds complicated. So what's the takeaway for Sagittarius?
Lorenzo's advice is to be honest with themselves about what they truly want and to be wary of chasing something that isn't meant for them. And when Venus moves into Pisces, activating their fourth house of home and family, things get more introspective. Old family wounds might resurface, and Sagittarius might feel a strong need for emotional security.
Maybe it's time to address those lingering issues from the past.
Exactly. He encourages them to be vulnerable, connect with their loved ones on a deeper level, and create stability and belonging in their personal life.
That sounds like a positive outcome. So maybe this retrograde isn't all doom and gloom for Sagittarius after all.
It's all about perspective. Lorenzo emphasizes that this is a time for Sagittarius to build a solid foundation for the future, both emotionally and in their relationships.
Great advice. Okay, let's move on to Capricorn. What does Lorenzo have in store for this ambitious and grounded sign?
Prepare for some major reality checks because Lorenzo has paired Capricorn with the Devil and the Four of Pentacles, and with Venus retrograde starting in their fourth house of home and emotional security, things are about to get shaken up at their very core.
The Devil. That sounds intense.
In tarot, the Devil often represents our shadow self, our fears, and the things we become attached to even if they're not good for us.
So maybe some unhealthy habits or limiting beliefs are coming to light.
Exactly. Lorenzo suggests that Capricorn might be clinging to a sense of security that's actually holding them back.
Interesting. And how does the Four of Pentacles play into this?
The Four of Pentacles is often associated with possessiveness, control, and a fear of loss. Lorenzo suggests that Capricorn might be holding on too tightly to their possessions, their resources, or even their loved ones out of a fear of scarcity or instability.
So maybe they need to loosen their grip and learn to trust the flow of life a bit more.
Exactly. And this theme of letting go continues as Venus moves into Pisces and activates Capricorn's third house of communication. Lorenzo says that secrets might be revealed, unexpected information comes to light, and Capricorn is forced to confront some uncomfortable truths.
So maybe they discover something about a loved one that changes their perspective or learn something about themselves that they've been avoiding.
It's definitely possible, and he warns about the potential for misunderstandings and miscommunications, especially with those closest to them.
Sounds like a time to be extra mindful of their words and actions.
Absolutely. He encourages Capricorn to be open to new information, to communicate honestly and directly, and to avoid making assumptions.
Great advice. Okay, we've got 2 signs left. What does Venus retrograde have in store for Aquarius, the sign of innovation, independence, and humanitarianism?
Get ready for some unexpected reunions, Aquarius, because Lorenzo has paired you with the Star and the Six of Swords, and with Venus retrograde beginning in your third house of communication, it's all about reconnecting with people from your past.
Interesting. So who might pop up during this retrograde?
Lorenzo says your inbox is about to become a time machine. Old messages, long-lost friends, former classmates, anyone you haven't spoken to in a while might suddenly resurface.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of social activity. How should Aquarius navigate all these reconnections?
That's where the star comes in. It represents hope, healing, and renewal. It's like a reminder to approach these interactions with an open heart, a willingness to forgive past hurts.
So maybe it's a chance to mend fences or rekindle friendships that fizzled out?
It's definitely possible, but Lorenzo also warns against repeating past mistakes. He says to be discerning about who you let back into your life, make sure you're not idealizing people from your past.
Makes sense. And what are the Six of Swords? How does that play into the Aquarius experience?
The Six of Swords is often associated with moving on from difficult situations, seeking calmer waters.
So maybe letting go of some baggage from the past.
Exactly. And this theme of release becomes even more prominent as Venus dips back into Pisces and activates Aquarius's second house of values and finances. Lorenzo says that Aquarius might experience some financial surprises during this time.
Like winning the lottery.
Not necessarily. He suggests that if they haven't been managing their money responsibly, they might face some unexpected expenses or financial setbacks.
So time to tighten the purse strings.
Exactly. But he also suggests that this is a time for Aquarius to reevaluate their values, both in terms of their finances and their sense of self-worth.
So maybe they need to reassess their spending habits and make sure they're aligning with their priorities.
Exactly. He encourages Aquarius to invest in themselves, to develop their talents, and to build a secure foundation for the future.
Great advice. Okay, we're down to the last sign, Pisces. What does Lorenzo have to say about how this retrograde will affect them?
Well, considering Venus is retrograding through their sign, Pisces is in for quite a ride. Lorenzo has paired them with the Moon and the Nine of Cups, and things are about to get very emotional.
The Moon? That sounds a bit mysterious.
The Moon is all about illusions, intuition, and the subconscious, and with Venus retrograde starting in their second house of self-worth and finances, Lorenzo suggests that Pisces might be feeling a bit lost and uncertain about their direction in life.
So maybe they're questioning their career path or feeling insecure about their financial situation.
It's definitely possible he encourages Pisces to trust their gut instincts during this time and to be patient as they navigate this period of introspection.
Makes sense. And what about the Nine of Cups? What insights does that offer?
The Nine of Cups is traditionally associated with wish fulfillment and happiness. But in this context, Lorenzo suggests that Pisces might be holding on to unrealistic expectations or clinging to a romanticized vision of the past.
So maybe they need to let go of some old dreams or fantasies that are no longer serving them.
Exactly. And this theme of release becomes even more prominent as Venus moves into Aries and activates Pisces' first house of self-identity. Lorenzo says that old insecurities might resurface, and Pisces might feel a strong urge to change their appearance or reinvent themselves.
So maybe resist the urge to get that drastic haircut or make any impulsive decisions about their style.
Exactly. He encourages Pisces to embrace their authentic self and to focus on inner growth rather than external validation.
Great advice. Okay, we've covered all 12 signs. What a wild ride.
It seems like Venus retrograde 2025 is going to be quite an eventful period.
It does, and we still have a lot more to unpack. Join us for part 3 of this episode, where we'll continue exploring the themes of karma, love, and personal transformation with this very unique forecast. Welcome back, everyone. It's been quite a journey through the Zodiac, right?
It really has.
We've seen hidden fears, second chances, karmic debts. I mean, this Venus retrograde seems to have it all.
It does, but you know what? Even though we've gone through each sign, I still feel like there's so much more to uncover with this forecast.
Right. It's not like your typical Venus retrograde is going to ruin your love life kind of thing.
Right.
Lorenzo is like really going deep
into
the karmic themes here.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so interesting. You know, it's not just about predicting events. It's about understanding like the why behind them.
Yeah.
Lorenzo reminds us that we're not just passive recipients, you know.
Right.
We have the power to choose how we respond to these energies.
I love that. So instead of fearing Venus retrograde, we can use it as like a time for introspection and growth.
Exactly. You can think of it like a cosmic opportunity to clear out the clutter, both emotional and physical, and make space for new beginnings.
I like that.
It's about taking responsibility for past actions and making conscious choices, align with your highest good.
Love it. It's about empowerment, not just prediction.
Exactly. And his use of tarot.
Yeah.
It just adds this whole other layer of depth and personalization.
Yeah.
Those cards aren't just random symbols.
Right.
They offer these valuable clues about our individual journeys and the lessons we're supposed to be learning during this time.
So it's like having a cosmic roadmap with personalized guideposts along the way.
Exactly.
Okay, so even though each sign has its own specific challenges and opportunities,
right.
I think there's a common thread through all of them.
Yeah, right.
This idea of authenticity, self-awareness,
yes,
and aligning our actions with our values.
Absolutely. If there was just one piece of advice I could give to listeners navigating this whole karmic Venus retrograde thing.
Yeah, what would it be?
I think Lorenzo said it best. Don't just respond.
Ooh, I like that.
This is your chance to rewrite the script,
Right.
Release those old patterns, step into your true power.
It's not about being a victim of circumstance, but like a co-creator of our own reality.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
My pleasure.
I know our listeners are going to find this forecast incredibly helpful as they prepare for Venus retrograde 2025.
I hope so. And remember, this is just like a glimpse,
right.
into the vast world of astrology and tarot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're curious, keep exploring.
Yeah.
There's so much out there.
And we'll be here to guide you along the way. You can find more resources on our website and social media.
Definitely check it out.
So be sure to check those out. And until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep looking up.